talking about a Trinitarian model for full life thriving. And again, these core teachings came from Jesus or Yeshua, and they came to me in response to a series of questions that I was asking about my own life and this path of what I have come to call the path of sacred partnership, and that being, sort of the way that I am drawn to, or I have designed perhaps my own soul growth and transformation. And so for some reason, that just has always been in my heart and soul. And so this vision, this remembering, has drawn me forward in my life in a variety of ways. It's not about one person. It's about the larger path, the mission, the way of being, a way of seeing yourself and the world around you, a way of being in the world and expressing yourself, and then a whole new way of freeing yourself. And that freedom is really central for me in my life. And so these core teachings from Jesus came from my own series of questions about, or my I suppose you could say, my confusion, or my desiring clarity on the true meaning of this path for me in terms of my own soul's growth. And so these core teachings are a part of the sacred partnership journey, but they are also, I have come to understand in the last couple of years. I wrote all of this down back when I was asking the questions. I did a series of journals with regard to that, and then I combined that into the book, which is called Sacred Partnership, and 7 core teachings for the radical redefinition of relationship. Actually 7, what is it called? Okay, whatever it's called. But anyway, that book is available now online, and so you can see that in the journey, of course, that this video is a part of. But what I've come to understand is that these core teachings, and Jesus has shown me this so clearly in these last couple of years, is that these core teachings really assist us in connecting within and in those 2 twin journeys that I talk about, the journey back to sacred wholeness and the journey to soulful transformation. Or you can understand that as the path of radical reclamation, that's that journey back to sacred wholeness, and then the path of radiant realization, which is that soulful transformation that we're all here. That's what the experience of life really is to me, is those 2 twin journeys. And so these 7 core teachings are amazing in that they assist us in their connecting points to aspects of the journey. So this first of the 7 core teachings is about honoring the third thing. And it's all about radiant expansion from within. And this applies, of course, to sacred partnerships, and it also applies in our daily lives. Now, so we're going to talk a little bit about what does this mean, this honoring the third thing. So this also relates to a couple of things I've shared in the past regarding from a number of different angles. In one set of sharings, I was talking very much about, the world beyond the world we're in, and specifically I was talking about Sirius as a 3-star system. It's, we usually think of it as the 2 stars, and that was, I don't have all the details there, unfortunately, because I'm just not, that's not how my brain works, but it was like a clear knowing that came to me. And was shown to me. And then I've also addressed this idea in terms of creativity, and when I have done workshops on creative practices such as my soul essence art exploration or other ways of expressing more fully who you are and what you uniquely have to share through creative expression. When I've shared about that topic broadly, one of the things that I talk about a lot of times is that creative field, the circle of recreation, and how when we step into that, we are able to access more of inner message, and or that inner expression of life, which may or not be about a message meant to guide or teach or have any purpose. It may just be the beauty, right? The expression of the beauty. So I've talked about in many of those videos when I've shared, I've talked about this field of grace, and I've talked about the stepping into that circle of recreation. And then the third set of sharings that I've done in the past that some of you might have connected with me on is, again, back to the sacred partnership teachings, is about the idea of the eternal life and eternal love being something that starts within us, not outside of us. And it's that connection to the kingdom of heaven within that is the access point. So when we connect to our still center, from there everything is possible. That is where the universe is birthed, from within us. So those three sets of sharings that I have done before all pertain to what I'm going to share today about honoring the third thing and radiant expansion from within. So let's take a look at these concepts and this teaching. So first, this 3-star system forms a triangle, right, or a Trinitarian field, and that is the centrality of what I want to share today. Is that if we consider that triangular field, first of all, it's not flat; it's a dynamic and sustainable system that is ever evolving. So it's expanding, contracting, turning, rotating, it's shifting dimensions. It's expanding the experience. It is about our life's experience. And so within this system of the 3 stars, which are like 3 points. Now, it could be that we are discussing this in terms of how this information was first conveyed to me, in terms of 2 people who are on a path of love or sacred partnership, and unconditional love. So not the kind of love that we are used to or have been until very recently in this reality, where it is, basically a contractual arrangement. Not that, but so you can understand this 3-star system in terms of a relationship dynamic. So there are the 2 people, and then there's this third thing, which is, in the terms of sacred partnership, is God, life, universe, the life force energy. And it is by the connection of those 3 and the coming together and the balancing and the harmonic convergence of the 3 that there is that expansion, that there is the opening to what some would call the new earth, the opening to infinite potentialities and possibilities, the opening to, and the return, I would say, the great return to eternal life, eternal love, everlasting love. I'm hearing that song in the background. I don't even, I'm dating myself here, like 70s or 80s, 70s, I think, everlasting love. Okay, so that field of grace, that's what the core concept is here. And this Trinitarian model, if you can just envision the 3 stars, again, dynamic and ever moving. I may have to go inside because of the noise here. It looks like they're doing some kind of construction nearby. Yeah, let me do that. Okay, so it was so nice out there. I'll have to get up earlier when I film these or record them. So if you can just keep that idea of a multidimensional, dynamic star system, and think of those 3 points and envision those 3 points connected, so it does form a triangular shape. By the way, this is very connected to me to some of the various starships that many have seen through time, myself included, that have that triangular shape, and the way that they're able to access the speed and the motion is through the interchange, the interconnectedness. So this symbol of the three stars that are a dynamic system, and the lines that connect them form a stable foundation. And that stability, that structure, that sustainable system is the vehicle for this. It's a field of radiant expansion. Now, you can also think of this as within each soul. It's a solar system. And if you think of within each soul, this is happening within us all the time. And this is something that it's the field of recreation within us. And so when you think of it this way, you can think of, in terms of sacred partnership, those two people who have been able to rebalance and harmonize within them. And to do that, of course, requires a bringing forth of what is within you, a healing of the shadow, a walking in the way of wholeness, which we'll talk about in the core teaching number 2, and really all the teachings that follow support this. But this is the foundation. And so if you can just keep this Trinitarian model, and I prefer to think of it in terms of this 3-star system, because that helps me to connect to the dynamic nature of this. It's not fixed. And that's the reason that I actually am really passionate about that 3-star system part, is that for many years I completely understood the stability, the foundation, the need for that. I'm still working on that in my practical life, but I understood it in terms of my spiritual foundation. I remembered it, I knew it, and yet I think that where I would get tripped up again and again was in thinking that that was fixed. I would achieve a state of enlightenment, awakeness, and or awareness, or thriving, and it would be, and then check, it would be done. But it's not like that. Is an ever evolving solar system, because our soul is on a journey through time and space, and so that 3-star system helps me remember the dynamic nature of this journey, this life journey, and the journey of sacred partnership. So in a broader sense, though, beyond the path of sacred partnership, there is the honoring of the third thing that allows us to see life and ourselves and others in a much more expanded capacity. And that new way of seeing really shifts everything. And as that begins to shift, we begin to show up more fully. And so we step into a whole new way of being ourselves. And then as we begin to shift the way we are living, then there is this freedom that comes, and this it's a liberation and when we are liberated individually and within these various partnerships, relationship dynamics that we have in this human experience here on earth, and that includes our connection to Gaia, the earth herself, and it includes our connection to God, source, spirit, great spirit, and it includes our connection to the animals and all living things, and to life itself. When all of that begins to shift and we step into that whole new way of being, there is a freedom, a liberation. And when we are freed, when we become the embodiment of that freedom, we are a part of the liberation of humanity and of the elevation of all that is. And we are a fuller expression of our true divine nature. And we become we step into a greater alignment with the truth of who we are, which is an expression of the infinite divine. So this is the field of grace that is at the heart of this core teaching about honoring the third thing. This field of grace can be something that we can step into in any situation, at any time, when in any circumstance, anything in life. If you will just stop and feel into, breathe deeply and feel into, where can I step into a field of grace in this circumstance? How can I connect to that third thing? And from this, when you step into this circle of recreation, this 3-star system, and you live in the center of it, and you remain in flux, in flow with life itself, then what happens is, regardless of what's externally happening with any other individual that might be involved or any other situation or circumstance, there's a natural elevation, because then this structure that was false cannot be sustained. It cannot be sustained because you're no longer attached to a push-pull dynamic, a polarity, or a life that is rooted in separation, or the illusion that there even are two opposites. And because you've expanded your thinking, your way of seeing the world, by understanding that it is never the two opposing forces. It is always the three as one. And everything exists within that circle of recreation. At least that's the way I'm seeing it now. The opportunity in any given situation is to exist within that field of grace. Even if that tension still feels like it's present, continue to honor the third thing, even if you don't know what that third thing is. Now, there's also, I want to clarify here, because there's also this concept that there is a third thing created when two come together, and that is equally true. But here, there is not so much a focus on what is created by the two. It is that third thing is already there. You can think of this in terms of partnership as the energy that exists when two are in a dance of life, whatever that might be, whether it is a sacred partnership, whether it is a friendship, whether it is a work relationship, whether it is a parent-child dynamic, or sibling, anything else really. And this is also equally true, I find, at least from my current observation, within society. So, basically what I'm sharing here are solar systems that I am given or shown an aspect of anyway, that are dynamic and sustainable systems for a flourishing humanity. And this honoring the third thing, this Trinitarian model, is central to the expansion of the way we've been moving through time and space, the way that we've been seeing our history and even our trajectory toward our future. And it's a paradigm shift, yeah, but it's a return. I'm always drawn back to that idea of the return and the circle of recreation. So this Trinitarian model, I'm often shown the clarity. It's like a facet of a diamond. So a clear surface that then you see is much more than a flat surface. It's literally like the endless pools of soul that one can access when one enters into that field of grace, steps into the circle of recreation. And there again, that eternal life and love is accessed from a field of grace. And there, the diamond surface, if you'll take that image for just a moment, it's endless, because whatever your perspective is or your current circumstance, it's a different facet of this field. That's a different facet that allows you to step into and experience the field of grace from that particular perspective or angle, or I'm struggling with the words here, but I hope you're kind of getting the visual here. So it is a triangle with the three angles, right, between the three, but it is also, that creates a surface, which is really not a surface, but it appears to create a surface or a plane. I wish I was a scientist sometimes. I'm clearly not. And when that plane or that surface is created, that vehicle, that is an opportunity or a platform that becomes dimensional, multi-dimensional, and is the access point within the center point of the convergence of the lines that come in from each of the participants, which can be solo participants, human beings, but it could also be organizations. It could also be various ways of seeing life and love and light. And if you think of the convergence points of the three, and then there's then it becomes multidimensional, right? Because that point that's created from the convergence of these three can become, it can go in any direction. I don't know the degrees. Would it be 360? I don't know. But you understand that it can become something, always become something more and more interesting, and that is what allows us to have a depth of field, in that field of experience that we are here to experience. That sounds crazy, like the field of experience we're here to experience. The field of being that we are here to embody, to taste, to feel. We're so limited with this idea of the five senses. It's so much more than that. And I'm really struggling with the words here, but I hope that's it's making sense. So when you think of that facet of the diamond, let's go back to that for a moment. And I recently did a series called The 12 Diamond Dimensions about the passage to a new society. And that, again, speaks to the more collective aspects of, more the flourishing humanity, and the broader application for this in terms of our collective experience. So again, it's always working on the two levels, the individual and the collective, and then of course in terms of the sacred partnership path, that connection between the two, which is really a 3 in 1. So think of those diamond facets for a moment. And if you think of the 3 lines that connect, that form the triangular plane or surface of one part of the multifaceted diamond, you can think of, a diamond. When you're looking for a diamond, you want something that is clear, or polished, if you will. So think of the word clear. You want it to be sparkling, so clean. And then you want it to be something that is unique or expressive somehow, or symbolic of the love, and or at least traditionally diamonds have been that. Or you can also think of the the diamond star, and you also want it to be creative. And so those 3 words are keywords for me. You can choose whatever keywords work for you, but these 3 keywords, in addition, it's like another layer to understanding this 3-star system beyond the sacred partnership path or relationship dynamic way of seeing it, beyond the societal transformation way of seeing it, beyond the circumstantial way of seeing it, where you're looking at things that seem to be polar opposites, like I want to experience this over here, but this is the current circumstance, and they seem to be butting heads, but there's the third thing. So beyond, that's another way of returning to this model, this Trinitarian model, to find a whole new way forward. Because all of this, the Trinitarian model, the honoring the third thing, and all of the other 7 core teachings, again, are about the radical restoration of the whole of who you are, a whole new you, and it's about the radiant realization of who you are, and which then leads to a whole new way forward, individually and collectively. So clear, clean, and creative are the three keywords that I often return to help me kind of check the pathways within me in terms of this three-star system, this Trinitarian model. And that then allows me to step into that larger circle of recreation, that larger field of grace where I'm able to then relate to whatever is happening in the this three-dimensional experience on Earth that we are having. Or this also applies to, it's multidimensional, so it applies to our etheric body, our eternal experience, our eternal expression of our true nature. So clean, clear, creative are my three keywords. So you might want to think about what are your three keywords that you can call on. And I've used many other, I won't call them keywords, but many other resonant ideas or aspects of experience to assist me in remembering, again, remembering over and over and over again, remember to put back together again my understanding and awareness of this circle of recreation. So this may change over time too. Everything I'm talking about here is about embracing a fluid, what do they call it in aerospace? Fluid dynamics, I believe. And it's about that sort of model. It's about the scientific terms are completely eluding me, but I am thinking about some shows I used to watch, documentaries with my son, who is an aerospace engineer now, but when he was a child, and I was like, I could just like, everything was so resonant in him, and it was about I'm so sorry, the theory, not chaos theory, but there's another one, but about all of these multidimensional experiences are parallel realities that are happening at once. And I remember thinking, oh yeah, that's how we're supposed to live. That's it. That's how we're supposed to live. I was remembering, I was putting it back together again, what I had always known, and that's there for you. And this Trinitarian model will assist you in remembering at a feeling level, at an experiential level, because that's what we're here for: life and the fullness of life, and the experience of our life as connected to all that is, as an expression of all that is, as a regenerative field, and as a one who both experiences and receives from life and then gives back to life. Again, it's a regenerative field. And again, all of this is happening within this circle of recreation that is an ever expanding sphere of being. So the circle itself, outside of that three-star system, triangular, multidimensional vehicle that's held within the circle of recreation, and that circle itself is a sphere of infinite being. It is an infinite field of grace in which we are always held. And it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So we want to reside within that circle of recreation, that field of grace, and to remember that we are light, we are life, we are love, individually and collectively, regardless of how it looks. And it's all a play of light. It's all a really amazing tapestry of truth that comes from each of us reclaiming and embodying our essential story of life, and then being that revolution of love we are. I am light. I am life. I am love. This is another way of using this Trinitarian model to access more of our core essence, your essential self, your essential journey, your essential truth. And this is what allows us to return to that state of wholeness, to create from that place of wholeness. And we become then, so as we begin to exist within that field of grace, that circle of recreation, then we see everything as whole and complete and fulfilled and restored. And then we become the embodiment of the optimal strength and whole life thriving that we so desire. Isn't that like a miracle? It's just a miracle, and it's so simple in many ways. But if you are anything like me, then you have encountered struggle or sacrifice or disruption or distortions of that simple flow of life. And often that comes because we are missing the third thing. We're missing this idea that it's a dynamic and sustainable system that we ourselves are. I talk about that in my book, All Systems Go. You are a dynamic and sustainable system, fully equipped to thrive here and now. And this is true because of this model, this Trinitarian model that allows us to become, to experience fully the depth that is here for us. You know, the depth and the breadth and that deep and wide fountain of life, eternal youth and abundance and all that we desire. And then do you see how beautiful that is? Like, we think it's out there. We got to achieve or get our ducks in a row. This is something I'm constantly learning in my experience. And then it's like, oh, it's actually already here. It's actually here. And I am the embodiment of this truth. It is by connecting to my essential self, my essential journey, my essential truth, the light and the life and the love that I am, and residing in that field of grace, residing in that circle of recreation. When I reside there, then I am connected to that still point of creation, and I myself become a receptor, a receiver of life force energy, and a generator, a current. I am one with the current of life. I am life's currency. I am one with the flow of great spirit and divine expression here, now, in this reality, not existing out there waiting for things to change, because I am the change, because I become the change, because I am the embodiment of the world I wish to see, because it already exists within me, because the kingdom of heaven is within. And there is a new earth and a new heaven here to experience now, in this moment of the now that is your next opportunity window. It's here. It's here. And so that radiant expansion from within can come in any moment as we step into the field of grace, as we know that our access to eternal life and love and that flow of beauty and truth that we so desire is already here. Essential message is this, that there is within you and around you and existing throughout all creation many, many facets, a multifaceted diamond that is the experience of life. And at any point, from wherever you are, in whatever circumstance you find yourself, in whatever body you exist, in whatever structure you are a part of, in whatever dynamic is happening within any relationship, then there is still the opportunity that is given to all freely, that is itself, it's infused with the grace and the love of God and all life. There is in every moment the opportunity to remember this and to honor this gift that is far more beautiful than any sparkling diamond, because it is you yourself that are one with this field of grace, this circle of recreation, this path of radical restoration, this path of radiant realization that is a great return, that offers you the opportunity to embrace a whole new you and a whole new way forward in life. And as more and more of us begin to live in this way, so we create a new world.